Press conferences in mixed martial arts are often like slow-motion car wrecks you can't look away from, and while there have been plenty of iconic and awesome moments along the way at these media events, there's probably been twice as many that made us physically cringe so hard that we imploded into ourselves and blinked out of existence. So today, we are going to relive that feeling 10 times over. I'm Tommy from MMA On Point. A huge thank you to our channel Hall of Famers for their support and suggestions, and these are the cringiest press conference moments in MMA history. Number 10, Cejudo Snake Beater. We're kicking this thing off with the king of cringe himself, and while he has taken to that moniker, at first, Ol' Henry was not enjoying the label, a bit like Kurt Angle's early pro wrestling gimmick, but done unironically. And while Cejudo often plays up to the awkwardness, most of it is done on social media. But he did have one presser moment. It was the first time he had done such a little stare-down stunt, and it still gives me cringe chills to this day. I'm of course talking about when he went face-to-face with TJ Dillashaw. When he grabs the bag from Dana and acts like the snake is moving around, my god! And just how he does the whole thing and how long he does it and the pauses. And then to walk up and have this serious stare down with Dillashaw, who looks like he just escaped a Saw movie, it really does encapsulate so perfectly everything that is cringe-inducing about Henry Cejudo. Number 9, Dana got him. Some of the Dana White moments that make me laugh the most are when he goes full boomer, and nothing brings the old man out in Dana like dealing with those dastardly pirates, his sworn enemies. The UFC being a pay-per-view brand, they're a lot more interested in catching illegal streamers than most sports organizations. But the battle is one that's pretty much impossible to win. That was until UFC 257.
We got one. We got him. We're watching this guy right now. All you have to do is turn it on Saturday, and we got you, fucker. Turn it on Saturday, streamers, and see what happens.
Tell him, Dana. God, so cringe, but also just so great. Dana talking about getting this streamer like they're hunting down Bin Laden. It's amazing. Even funnier, the notion that they were surveilling some stream provider in the bushes, just waiting for them to push the button that makes streaming happen. God, I love it. And this clip is only made better by the follow-up after the event.
He put out a statement, said, I will not be streaming the McGregor versus Poirier anymore, but I will show you how to buy it legally. And now his whole streaming service has been deleted and is gone. One down and a shitload to go. Unless Dana and his crack team of commandos are keeping this operation dark, I'm not sure how many more streamers have been converted to sending out links to ESPN Plus since 257. Number 8, Colby's hair tangle. Have you ever felt so embarrassed that you lashed out and said some crazy shit to someone to compensate for the dumb thing you said to them that made you feel embarrassed? Well, I think Colby Covington has, because after this classic moment of cringe, Covington immediately transitioned into Too Farsville. It was the presser for the fight with Leon where he dressed like someone putting on a very low-budget production of the musical 1776. And as he sometimes tends to do, Colby would fumble his words at unfortunately the worst possible time as he was trying to deliver a super scary threat.
On Saturday night, I'm gonna bring you to a place you never want to be. I'm gonna bring you the 7th layer hair. Hell.
Okay.
That's a tough one. Hair and hell very close to each other, and he didn't do himself any favors by trying to re-say the line correctly.
No, I'm bringing you to 7th layer hell.
It's too late, Colby. It's lost all of its effect. We're too busy laughing at 7th layer of hair. To compensate for the gaffe, as I mentioned, Covington added this in there.
We'll say what's up to your dad while we're there.
Super classy sport we watch. Number 7, Timu Robbie Lawler. Another relatable entry. Did you ever accidentally call your teacher mom when you were a kid and then just awkwardly sulk away embarrassed? Imagine doing that on a microphone in a room full of people, and then Dana White makes fun of you for it. That's kind of like what happened to a reporter after UFC 195. If you recall, Robbie Lawler had an all-time classic against Carlos Condit in the main event, so naturally reporters were going to want to discuss the fight with the champ. But this is not Robbie Lawler. That is Albert Tumanov. Robbie was not yet in the room, and this reporter didn't realize it until it was far too late.
I wanted to ask you, there's a really cool moment there at the end of the fight where you guys kind of collapsed at the same time on the cage. Were you aware of that? I mean, what's going through your head, and how do you feel in that moment? I'm sorry. So sorry. My bad.
I love that the poor guy is already just mortified, and Dana decides to pile on afterwards.
You thought that was Robbie Lawler?
With the beanie, it threw me off. My bad.
You cover this sport? You thought that was Robbie Lawler.
The story has a happy ending, though, as he would eventually get his redemption by asking the real Robbie about the post-fight moment with Carlos. Number 6, Tyron's boo beat. When the UFC held their huge tentpole 205 press conference in New York to get everybody hyped up for that card a few months before it went down, welterweight champ Tyron Woodley was taken back by the response he got from the fans.
And number 1, ooh, I'm getting booed.
Yeah, it turns out just everybody in New York hated Tyron Woodley in 2016, and they would let it be known at the final press conference before the actual event as well. This is the one Conor showed up to wearing Gucci mink, because without him the whole ship sinks, you know? Yeah, so a bunch of people who were from Ireland who came to town are not getting Conor yet, and Tyron Woodley has the mic. He was prepared for the boos this time, though, cringily prepared.
Go ahead, let's make a beat to it. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, boo, boo.
Okay, to be fair, at least after the awkward moment, he transitioned into I'm going to beat Thompson. But man, the first boo beat was tough enough, but to go for a second round, whew, pure cringe-tonium. Number 5, Izzy's yikes analogy. The human experience is as such that we can reference universally understood events sometimes to get our points across about a topic. It's something Israel Adesanya likes to do frequently, like when he talks about freezing opponents like Elsa.
He knows I put him on skates last time, and this time when I put you on skates, I'm gonna leave you frozen like Elsa.
Well, he decided to stray from the Disney references and go just a bit of a different route at a presser in Auckland for his upcoming fight with Yoel Romero. The press conference was already awkward enough with Yoel not being there in person, but on a big screen like he was Zordon. But Izzy decided to take the whole thing to another level of cringe.
And everyone likes to make this myth about, oh, he's, steel, like kicking steel, or you hit him and he doesn't fall. I'll touch him enough times, and eventually he'll crumble like the Twin Towers.
Yikes. If I had a tie on right now, I'd be loosening it. Yeah, probably not the kind of imagery you want to conjure up when you're doing something as flippant as talking trash about an MMA fight to a person who's not even there, but just on a large TV screen. Adesanya would apologize for the gaffe, and we all say dumb shit sometimes when we're trying to be clever. Even so, it's just as cringe all the same, Number 4, branding request. If I were to ask someone who was unaware of this moment to write down the most random question that could be asked at a UFC press conference, I'm guessing it would take them the lifespan of the Roman Empire to guess that it was branding, as in the act of marking cattle in the animal husbandry industry, which ends up being the loose thread that ties us to MMA, as Donald Cerrone is involved with the UFC parent company Endeavor's bull riding league. But we're not talking about branding a cow, which would already be a weird topic. We're talking about branding a person. I realize everything I have said up to this point sounds utterly insane, and even if I tried to explain the awkwardness of this moment, I really couldn't do it justice, so rather than go on, let's just play the clip.
If you notice this BMF brand on the top of my hat, got that custom branding iron, and I said if he did his right, I was gonna let him brand me, but now I just wanna let him do it. So, what do you think about that?
Did you say brand you? You and Cowboy were made for each other. Have you ever been branded before?
No.
No?
I've done it to someone.
You should probably, you have? Oh, you're into some shit, huh?
The cringe-tacular exchange caused quite a stir overnight in the MMA bubble. In case you were wondering, as best as I could tell, the reporter from the clip has not yet been branded by Cowboy, who I'm sure would actually do it and probably will at some point. Number 3, Johnson Whole Foods. Comebacks on the fly in the moment are really tough and are often what lead to awkward, cringy moments. Maybe you're a bit emotionally fired up, and then cringe things happen, especially when your style of comeback is to somehow flip the words of your opponent. This cringy moment took place at the big summer kickoff press conference, the same one that gave us the super awkward Mike Chiesa mom freakout.
I'm gonna smack the fuck out of you right now. Don't you ever talk about my mom. What's good?
But we're not here for that. We're here to talk about 2 of Michael Johnson's comebacks at Justin Gaethje. The first is just hilariously silly, as Johnson tried to explain that he wasn't worried about Gaethje exhausting him.
It's gonna be a march to deep water, baby, and you ain't not gonna last. You cannot swim in this water.
To deep water? I don't need to swim. I do all my fighting on land, player.
Yeah, Justin, he doesn't fight in the water, you idiot. So how are you gonna take him into the deep waters, idiot? What an idiot. The more iconic and cringier reply came just a few moments later, when Michael again tried to flip Justin's words against him like he was B-Rabbit.
I eat my shit whole. I don't fucking take piece by piece.
Oh my God, it's too much. I can't. He's gonna swallow you whole, Justin. He takes no bites every meal this man eats. He just shoves the whole thing in there, and that's what he's gonna do to you in the cage. Trash talk is hard, guys. We really gotta give everybody a break here. And I do know what he was going for, but God, what a hilarious outcome. Number 2, Conor Cringe. While often praised for his acumen on the microphone at press conferences with plenty of top-tier moments, even Conor can stumble, and man can he stumble. We all remember the Maymac World Tour, just the most absurd press conferences in human history. And heading into New York's, there was a lot of talk about McGregor using the word boy when addressing Mayweather at the previous presser. And so McGregor chose to address that issue on stage in a way that I'm sure had every publicist within a 20-mile radius instantly drop dead.
Let's address the race. A lot of media seem to be saying I'm against black people. Do they not know I'm half black? I'm half black from the belly button down. Here's a little present for my beautiful black female fans.
Fighting is just the dumbest thing. The New York show was by far the most unhinged all around by both parties, but no question that moment takes the cringe cake when it comes to both Maymac, which had plenty of those moments, and just Conor's entire career really. Number 1, GSP Doll Toucher. I have talked about this moment before on this channel, and I am 100% aware of what is going to be said, but every single time I watch this, every single time, I cringe so hard. It's like somebody just stuffed my mouth with sour warheads. UFC 129 brought a ton of media that doesn't regularly cover the sport, given the size of the event and the fight being in Canada. And usually when that happens, we get weird questions for the fighters. But this one is all time. At the open workout press conference before the fight, George St Pierre was hit with this Mack truck of awkward.
I just bought one of your dolls. What's the most offensive thing you've ever heard of a woman doing to one of your dolls?
You don't mind to come here and show it to me? I've never seen it, if you don't mind.
Oh, it's beautiful. I've done things to it, George.
Wow.
Things we could do, George.
What on earth would even compel that woman to say any of the things she said out loud to George? I cannot handle it. It is too much every time. What in the hell? And of course, GSP handled it like a Hall of Famer, but you could tell even he was thinking, oh my God, what is happening? Yeah, it's just never not going to be awkward no matter how many times I watch that one, and there was no way it wasn't the number 1 cringe moment at a press conference. I'll tell you who's never made me cringe though. The editor of this video, Luke Taylor. The man's an absolute gem on the keyboard and mouse. Please follow him on all his socials and go check out his awesome YouTube channel. A massive shout to our channel Hall of Famers. Our growing little community is pretty awesome. Thank you for all that you do. You can be a Hall of Famer too by hitting the join button down below. There's exclusive content. You might have some say in our videos. It's a whole bunch of fun. Like and subscribe to reach the 8th layer of hair. Leave a comment down below about which of these press conference moments you couldn't handle. And thank you so much for watching. Let's do this again soon.